Hi Nana. Yeah. Now we have learned about the extraction of aluminium. That means metallurgy of aluminium. Okay. Now we will learn about the properties of aluminium. See, if you see the properties are of two types: physical properties and chemical properties. Okay. So if you discuss about the physical properties, then what are physical properties? Physical properties are nothing but color, the nature of the substance. That means about its ductility, about its tensile strength, about its malleability, etc. Okay. Melting point, melting point, boiling point, density. Okay. Electrical conductance. Okay. Conductivity or its conductance. Next, some other properties. So such properties are said to be physical properties. If you speak about the physical properties of aluminium metal, so what is the color of aluminium metal? So it has a shining surface, silvery white metal. Aluminium is a silvery white metal. It is a silvery white metal. Okay. The nature, the nature of aluminium is it is malleable. Malleable. That means uh, we can beat this aluminium into thin sheets. That means we can make into thin sheets. Thin sheets of aluminium can be made. Ductile. That means we can draw wires. Okay, we can draw the aluminium into wires. Okay. Aluminum, it has high tensile strength. High tensile strength. So like this. So these are some of the physical properties which are related to the nature of the metal. Okay. And if you speak about the melting point, already we have seen its melting point is 650 degrees centigrade, and its boiling point it is around 2000. That means its boiling point is 2467 degrees centigrade. So at this temperature aluminium will boil. Okay, around 2000 degrees centigrade, around 2000 degrees centigrade, aluminium will turn into vapors. Vapors of aluminium will form around 2000 degrees centigrade only. And by the temperature, by the time it reaches to this temperature, so aluminium will start boiling. Okay, that means its boiling point. The density, aluminium, it is denser than water. It is denser than water. So its density is 2.7 gram per cc, whereas water density is only 1 gram per cc. So the density of aluminum is 2.7 times more. That means aluminum is heavier. How many times? 2.7 times heavier than water. So that is why aluminum will sink in water. See, if you see the conductivity, so conductivity means both electrical conductivity, electricity, conduction of electricity and heat. So both this aluminum metal is a good conductor of electricity as well as heat. See, next to silver, okay, next to silver is copper and gold. gold, and next to these three elements is aluminum only. Okay. So like this, aluminum is a good conductor of electricity, and even it is a good conductor of heat also, both heat and electricity. Okay. Now another physical property, molding nature. See, this aluminum, we can mold aluminum metal into any shape. Okay, we can now, it is easily molded. So molding and easily molded. It is easily molded, and even easily welded also. Welding, easily welded. Aluminum can be easily welded. Welding means, what is the meaning of welding? So if you join any two metal pieces, or else if you cut any metal piece into two pieces, then the process is said to be welding. Welding means joining of two pieces of metal, or else cutting of a metal into more than one piece is called as welding. So aluminum can be welded easily. But in case of soldering, aluminum cannot be used as soldering material. What is soldering? Suppose if there are any two metals, so these two metals, in order to join these two metals, this substance which can join the two metals is said to be soldering material. It is said to be soldering material. Example, lead can be used as soldering material, but aluminum cannot be used. Aluminum cannot be used as soldering material, because this aluminum, that metal, it is always having a protective layer on it. So suppose that this is aluminum metal, as it is having some protective layer of aluminum oxide, as it is having protecting layer of aluminum oxide, it cannot be used for soldering purpose. Like how lead can be used for soldering. Okay, if the coating is not present, then it may be used, but generally aluminum, it forms a protective layer, or else a protective coat on its surface. Hence, aluminum cannot be used for soldering purpose. Suppose if this is aluminum metal, on the surface of the aluminum metal you will find aluminum oxide, Al2O3. Okay, aluminum oxide coating, or else aluminum oxide layer is formed naturally. Whenever aluminum is exposed to any other materials, immediately, even if it is exposed to moist air also, then that aluminum will form a protective layering on it, protective cover, or else protective layer on it, protective layer of aluminum oxide. So that is why aluminum cannot be used as soldering material, like this. So these are some of the important physical properties of aluminum. Now we will discuss about the chemical properties of aluminum. If we speak about the chemical properties are nothing but chemical reactions. So with the air, aluminum reacts with air, with water, okay, with acids, with alkalis, okay, with acids, with alkalis, okay, with other with the non-metals, and also it can act as reducing agent. I mean here the reactions where the aluminum shows reducing property. Reducing property is also due to some chemical reactions. So chemical properties are nothing but chemical reactions. How aluminium it shows chemical reaction with air. Generally, if you speak about the chemical properties of aluminium with air, so this aluminium it cannot react with dry air, so no reaction. Aluminum does not react with moist with dry air, but the same aluminium, okay, it can react with moist air. But the same aluminium, if it is made to react with moist air, if in the presence of moist air, what happens? This aluminum, it becomes a tarnish. Tarnish. What is the meaning of tarnish? That means develop becomes a dull surface. The shining surface of aluminum is lost, and it develops a very dull surface. So the turning off or else the conversion of shining surface into dull surface is called as a tarnishing. That means aluminum tarnishes in moist air. Why it is tarnished? Why the surface becomes dull? Because in the presence of moist air, the surface of the aluminum metal, it becomes dull due to the formation of aluminum oxide protective layer. It develops a protective layer. Okay, it develops a protective layer of aluminum oxide. So due to the development of aluminum oxide protective layer on the surface of the aluminum metal, that the aluminum metal is said to be tarnished. So that is why aluminum always it develops a protective layer on it. Hence, aluminum is called as the name, other name given to. So it is also called as a self-protective. It is called as self-protecting metal. That is why aluminum is called as self-protecting metal. Okay. So this is about the reaction of aluminum with air. And one more thing. So air contains what? Mainly air contains oxygen and what? And nitrogen also. See, actually in the moist air, so that means aluminum reacts with atmosphere oxygen in the presence of moist air and forms aluminum oxide. Okay, and some amount of heat and light are produced. Some amount of heat and light are also produced. Okay, in the presence of moist air. So that means aluminum reacts with oxygen in the air. In the same way, aluminum reacts even with the nitrogen also. Aluminum can react with the nitrogen of the air, but upon strong heating only. So when aluminum is heated strongly in the nitrogen or else in the air, so what happens when aluminum is heated strongly heated strongly, aluminum metal, when it is heated strongly in the air, okay, in the air, what happens? So in the air nitrogen is present. So aluminum will react with nitrogen only upon strong heating. And what happens? Suppose if this is the aluminum metal, upon strong heating this aluminum metal in the air, it burns without any flame. So this will burn, that aluminum metal will come, it undergo combustion without air. I mean without a flame. No flame is produced. Generally burning materials sometimes produce flames. So here aluminum, it burns in nitrogen without any flame and produces white light is produced. Dazzling white, very brilliant, dazzling white light is produced. Dazzling white light is produced. What is the meaning of dazzling white light? Very brilliant white light is emitted from the burning aluminum when that aluminum is strongly heated. So it emits, it shines very brightly, it shines. Okay, and during that process, as it is burning, so burning is a chemical reaction. So this aluminum will burn in nitrogen and forms aluminum nitride, a new substance. Aluminum nitride is formed, ALN, and heat and light, that light is very brilliant white light are formed. So like this, the reaction of aluminum in the air takes place. So that means this aluminum does not react with dry air. This aluminum react only with moist air, and that too this aluminum will undergo tarnishing of its surface due to the formation of protective aluminum oxide layer. And when this aluminum metal is heated strongly in the air, then it forms aluminum nitride, okay, without producing any flame. It burns, aluminum will burn, okay, and it produces white, very dazzling white light, and even heat is also emitted. So this is called as aluminum nitride. Aluminum nitride, okay, like this. So these are the reactions related to aluminum and air. Now let us discuss about the chemical reactions, or else chemical properties of aluminum with water. Aluminum with water, now we will discuss. See, when aluminum reacts with pure water, no reaction takes place. It does not react. Pure water does not react with aluminum. Why? Because this aluminum, because of this aluminum will develop a thin layer of a thin protective layer, a thin protective layer of aluminum oxide. It develops a thin protective layer of aluminum oxide. Hence, it does not react with the pure water. Okay, so with pure water, no reaction. Next, aluminum with salt water. Aluminum with salt water. So what happens? Aluminum slowly reacts with the salt water. Okay, aluminum slowly reacts with salt water, and liberate. The reaction is slow, okay, slow, and liberates hydrogen gas. Liberates hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is bubbled off slowly when aluminum metal is kept in salt water. Okay, slowly what happens? You will find the liberation of hydrogen gas. So whenever new hydrogen gas is liberated, so it indicates that these two are reacting with each other. Okay, next. Pure water, salt water. A mixture of aluminium and mercury. Aluminium and mercury. It is said to be an amalgam. It is said to be amalgam of aluminium. Amalgam of aluminium. Generally, amalgam means mixture of any metal with mercury is said to be amalgam. So as the metal is aluminium, it is said to be amalgam of aluminium. It may be amalgam of sodium, or else it may be amalgam of gold, or else any other metal. So in this case, this amalgam of aluminium, okay, reacts with cold water. It reacts with cold water, because amalgam of aluminium, it is when aluminium is mixed with mercury, the reactivity of aluminium will increase. As its reactivity increases, it can react even with cold water also. So what happens? So amalgam of aluminium reacts with cold water, okay, to liberate hydrogen gas with somewhat faster. Okay, so in this process what happens? It forms aluminum hydroxide. Here also aluminum hydroxide is formed. Okay, but the reaction here it is faster. In the presence of mercury it is faster, but here in the presence of salt water it is somewhat slow. But here, if the water is in the form of steam, then instead of aluminum hydroxide, it forms aluminum oxide. That means if we, instead of cold water, if aluminum is made to react with steam, when aluminum metal is made to react with steam, so actually this aluminum should be heated. It should be heated to red hot. When aluminum is heated to red hot and it is made to react with steam, what happens? It forms aluminum oxide, Al2O3, and hydrogen gas is liberated. So the difference, see the difference. With steam it is producing aluminum oxide, but with the cold water it is producing aluminum hydroxide. Okay. But here, this reaction, initially the reaction is faster. Initially it is faster. Initially it is fast. But slowly what happens? This aluminum will form a protective layer on it. Slowly this aluminum will form protective layer on it. After the formation of protective layer of aluminum oxide on this, then the steam does not react with aluminum, then this reaction will stop. The reaction will stop. That means this reaction takes only for some time only. After some time what happens? This aluminum metal will develop a protective layer of aluminum oxide on it, and afterwards, so during the formation of protective layer of aluminum oxide on it, the reaction between the steam and aluminum metal will slow down, and when entire surface of aluminum is it is covered with aluminum oxide, then at that time steam cannot react with the aluminum, because that aluminum is covered with aluminum oxide, hence steam cannot react with the aluminum, hence the reaction will stop. Okay, so like this the reaction of aluminum with water can be discussed. Now the reaction of aluminum with acids, we will discuss about acids, mineral acids, with the mineral acids. Mineral acids. What are mineral acids? The acids which are obtained from minerals are called as mineral acids. Example: hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, etc. Okay, so we will discuss about three types of mineral acids. Okay, the reaction of aluminum with HCl, the reaction of aluminum with sulfuric acid, the reaction of aluminum with nitric acid. Okay, right. If we speak about the reaction of aluminum metal with mineral acids, see, generally we will take three types of mineral acids. Okay, we will take three types of mineral acids: hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. And even these acids, it is dilute HCl and concentrated HCl. See, when aluminum metal reacts with HCl, dilute HCl, so in this process the reaction is slow reaction, and liberates hydrogen gas along the formation of aluminum chloride. Okay, so that means when the aluminum metal reacts with a dilute HCl slowly and liberates hydrogen gas along with the formation of aluminum chloride. Okay, so if I write the balanced equation, aluminum plus HCl gives us to aluminum chloride plus hydrogen gas. Okay, so 2 aluminum, 6 HCl, 2 AlCl3 and 3H2. Okay, but the same aluminum metal, when it is made to react with the concentrated HCl, what happens? The reaction is very rapid. With concentration HCl, what happens? Reaction is rapid. Rapid means very fast. Rapid reaction. Reaction is very fast. See here, we have to heat it. So that means here if you take a concentrated HCl, and heat it, what happens? Rapid. Reaction is rapid. Rapid means very fast. Reaction will occur very fastly, and a liberation of hydrogen gas will take place very fast. But with the dilute HCl, the aluminum reacts very slowly. Even in this case also, it liberates hydrogen gas and AlCl3 is formed. With concentrated HCl, the reaction is rapid. Okay, even in both the cases, the same reaction takes place. But with sulfuric acid, the reaction is different. So here, with the dilute H2SO4 and with the concentrated H2SO4, the products formed are different. See, with the dilute H2SO4, this aluminum, okay, with the dilute H2SO4, it reacts Okay, to form aluminum sulfate Al2SO4 taken thrice, and hydrogen gas is liberated with dilute H2SO4. But if I use concentrated H2SO4, then what happens? So the same aluminum sulfate is formed, okay, but here instead of hydrogen, water is formed, and the gas SO2 gas is formed. Okay. So here it is hydrogen with the dilute sulfuric acid. The product formed is hydrogen, whereas with the concentrated sulfuric acid, okay, with the concentrated sulfuric acid, okay, the product formed is what? Sulfur dioxide and water along with the aluminum sulfate. So here the products are different when the dilution, when the dilute sulfuric acid and concentrated sulfuric acid are used differently. Okay. So actually here we have to boil the mixture. So the mixture of aluminum and concentrated sulfuric acid, when it is boiled, it liberates the sulfur dioxide gas instead of hydrogen gas. So here no need of boiling. Okay, so like this, the reaction of sulfuric acid is different. I mean, the reaction of sulfuric acid, it is different when it is in dilute form and when it is in concentrated form. Okay, with the aluminum metal. So here the reaction is different. The products formed are different. Whereas with HCl, even with the dilute HCl or else even with concentrated HCl, the products formed are the same products are formed. Now if you speak about nitric acid, though I mean the nitric acid, even about this nitric acid, so no reaction. That means aluminum does not react with nitric acid at any cost. Nitric acid, suppose if this is nitric acid, if I keep aluminum metal on it, in the nitric acid, if I keep aluminum metal in the nitric acid, what happens? So here no reaction takes place. No reaction means here no liberation of any gas. No, we cannot say no reaction, but here no gas is liberated. So it reacts differently. How? This nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. Strong oxidizing agent. As it is a strong oxidizing agent, what happens? This aluminum metal will develop a aluminum oxide protective layer. Protective layer of aluminum oxide is developed when aluminum metal is kept in nitric acid. So what happens? Due to the development of aluminum oxide protective layer, so this aluminum, it does not react with nitric acid. Initially aluminum will react with nitric acid and forms aluminum oxide only for a very little span of time. Once after aluminum oxide is formed on its surface, what happens? That aluminum cannot be available for this nitric acid to react. That is why this metal is said to be rendered passive. Rendered passive. Aluminium will render passive. That means it does not react. Okay, only initially it reacts, and initially it forms aluminum oxide layer, protective layer. So when any metal, it forms a protective layer on it, then it is said to be rendered passive. So aluminum is rendered passive. When any metal, if it develops a protective layer on it, when it is reacted with nitric acid, what happens? That metal is said to be rendered passive. Even aluminum is also rendered passive with nitric acid. That means it can develop, it develops a protective layer on its surface. So that is the reason why in the aluminum container, so nitric acid can be stored. This is HNO3. This is aluminum container. In aluminum container, nitric acid can be stored, whereas other acids cannot be stored in aluminum container. Generally, in metal containers, we cannot store acids because the metals react with the acid, and forms a poisonous salts. But here in the case of aluminum and nitric acid, this aluminum, as it cannot react with nitric acid, that means aluminum is rendered passive. That means this aluminum metal. So as it is aluminum container, so inside this container it develops a protective layer. It develops a protective layer of aluminum oxide. It develops a protective layer of aluminum oxide, so that metal is not available for this acid to undergo any chemical reaction. So that is why this nitric acid can be stored in aluminum container. Nitric acid cannot be stored in other metal containers, but in aluminum container we can store. In aluminum container we cannot store other acids. So like this, the reaction of the chemical properties of aluminum with the mineral acids will be. Now we will discuss the chemical properties of aluminum with alkalis. What are alkalis? Alkalis means water soluble bases. Generally, which bases are water soluble? Which bases are water soluble? The base of sodium and potassium. Only these two are water soluble, and all other bases are water insoluble only. And even ammonium hydroxide is also a base, and it is also water soluble base. Only these three are said to be water soluble bases, and these two, out of these two, they are said to be here we use these two because these two are strong bases. This one is very weak base. So if we speak about alkalis, we will discuss about sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide only. So this aluminum metal reacts with alkalis. So these alkalis, aluminum metal with concentrated alkalis. Upon boiling, this is important. So here this mixture, aluminum metal and any concentrated alkali out of these two, upon boiling, what happens? Reaction takes place between these two, because aluminum can dissolve. Aluminum metal can be dissolved in alkali. See, only very few metals can dissolve in alkalis. What are the few metals? Aluminum, zinc, lead, okay, etc. So these are the very few metals. Only these metals can be dissolved in alkalis, but not all other metals. Okay. So here aluminum can dissolve in alkalis, concentrated alkalis. Okay, aluminum powder. Actually, we have to take aluminum in the form of powder, so that the reaction, any substance, if it is taken in powder form, then the reaction will be very fast. So take aluminum powder and dissolve this aluminum powder in concentrated alkali, and that mixture is boiled. Upon boiling the mixture of this concentrated caustic alkalis, so these two are said to be caustic alkalis. This is not caustic alkali. Caustic alkalis. Ammonium hydroxide is not a caustic alkali. These two are caustic alkalis. So this is called as caustic soda, caustic potash. So here what happens? Hydrogen gas is liberated. Hydrogen gas is liberated and forms the aluminate. Aluminate. It forms aluminate of aluminum of sodium or potassium. Suppose if I use NaOH, okay, upon boiling concentrated NaOH, when aluminum powder is kept in concentrated NaOH, and if you boil the mixture, what happens? It forms a sodium aluminate and hydrogen gas is liberated. If I put potassium hydroxide, this aluminum powder in potassium, concentrated potassium hydroxide, and if you boil it, you will get a potassium aluminate and hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay. So like this, if you balance, then you will get like this. H2. So it is a alkali. Alkali means water soluble when dissolved in water. So that means water is also present. Water is also present in that concentrated NaOH. Water is also present, but less amount of water. Okay. Right. So for the reaction to occur, so here water is also necessary because it is a concentrated alkali. Right. Next, so reaction with air we finished, reaction with water we finished, reaction with acids we finished, and reaction with alkalis we finished. Now we will learn about the reaction of aluminum with non-metals. So what alkalis? Concentrated caustic alkalis. Concentrated caustic alkalis. So such type of alkalis we have to take. Now we will discuss about the reaction of aluminum with non-metals. See which non-metals? Generally non-metals means we will discuss with chlorine, reaction with chlorine, reaction with sulfur, okay, and reaction with carbon. Okay, so then mainly we will discuss about these three. So first of all we will discuss about the aluminum, reaction of aluminum with chlorine. See, when aluminum is heated to red hot, when aluminum metal is heated to red hot, okay, red hot aluminum. So into this one, if you send chlorine gas, if we pass chlorine gas onto the red hot aluminum metal, the reaction takes place between these two. These two will react with each other. So at that temperature, it forms aluminum chloride. So aluminum chloride is a salt, it is formed. Okay, so like this aluminum chloride will form. We have to take aluminum, we have to heat that aluminum metal to red hot, and we have to pass chlorine gas onto the red hot aluminum. Finally reaction takes place and aluminum chloride is formed. Now reaction with sulfur. See, sulfur powder and even aluminum powder. Okay, see the mixture of sulfur powder and aluminum powder, upon heating they react with each other, okay, and forms aluminum sulfide. It forms aluminum sulfide, and the heat is liberated. Okay, it forms aluminum sulfide and the heat is liberated. Hence it is exothermic reaction. It is exothermic reaction. Okay. So chlorine we have finished, sulfur we have finished, now carbon. So carbon means in the form of charcoal. Okay. So charcoal powder, okay, on heating very strongly with aluminum powder, charcoal powder and aluminum powder, upon heating very strongly heated. If you heat the mixture very strongly, okay, then what happens? It forms a aluminum carbide and some heat is liberated. So it is also exothermic reaction. It's also exothermic reaction. Okay. So like this, the reaction of aluminum, the chemical properties of aluminum with non-metals will be discussed in the form of chemical reactions. Next, the reducing property is also one of the chemical property of aluminum. So we will discuss about the reducing property of aluminum. Aluminum metal can be used as reducing agent in many chemical reactions. For example, in aluminothermite process, in aluminothermite process, we use aluminum as reducing agent. See, what is aluminothermite process? See, actually, for example, if there is a railway track, suppose this is a railway track, okay. Suppose at some places the lining is broken. Here it is, the path, it is broken. Rail is broken. What happens? So here, due to this one, what happens? Trains cannot run. It leads to accidents. So, in order to prevent the accidents, we have to fill this gap with iron. We have to fill that gap with iron. So, how to fill that this gap with iron? With the help of a process known as aluminothermite process. In this process, what is the reaction takes place? See, iron is taken in the form of iron oxide. When iron oxide is allowed to react with aluminum, okay, aluminum powder, when it is heated strongly, heated, what happens? This aluminum acts as reducing agent. It takes away the oxygen from iron and it forms aluminum oxide and iron is formed. Okay, here this process is highly exothermic. It is highly exothermic reaction. So large amount of heat energy is liberated in this process. Very large amount of heat. Large amount of heat is liberated. So as the heat liberated is very large, what happens? The iron which is formed, it will melt. It melts. The iron is obtained in the molten state. Okay, now this reaction, it is made to occur in this site, in this place. So that what happens? The molten iron will come and sit here. After some times, what happens? The molten iron, it will, after cooling, it will solidify, and here it joins the two broken pieces. So like this, here aluminium, it is acting as a reducing agent. So that means here it is a chemical property. Reducing property is nothing but a chemical property. Reducing property of aluminium. Reducing property of aluminium metal. Okay, when a mixture of iron oxide, so this is called as iron 3 oxide. Iron 3 oxide. Okay, when a mixture of iron 3 oxide, it is also called as hematite. It is also called as hematite. Okay, so when a mixture of iron 3 oxide and aluminum powder is heated strongly, it catches fire. So this mixture will catch fire. Okay, with the liberation of iron metal, and large amount of heat is liberated. Hence, this aluminum metal is said to be acting as reducing agent. So if you balance it, so 2Al, okay, right, so 2Fe. In this way, the reducing property of aluminium is also a chemical property. So chemical properties are nothing but the chemical reactions shown by that substance. So the chemical properties of aluminium means how aluminium reacts with other substances like air, water, acids, alkalis, okay, etc., etc. Right. We will discuss about the other topic in the next video.